From the Sidelines on 1580 KGAL.
I love that sound. The Baja Mashugna Band and the Whistler. The guy with the whistle is... By the way, the whistle works today because, the whistle at the beginning of the song, you weren't listening carefully. Let's try it again. Hear that? The whistle sometimes has not worked in the past because we had replacement players in the band. But the actual starting players are back this morning, and that's why the whistle blew as it should. Good morning and welcome to From the Sidelines. It's a sports talk program here at 1580 KGAL. This is one of the few places in the world where people root for a replacement on Fridays. But I am the regular host, and I am back this morning. The nice thing is that the person that they root for is still here this morning. Wally Ordeman is over there. Good morning.
Good morning to you. And I don't know that that's true. We know that that's not true. Let me say it that way.
Here comes the false modesty.
No.
The FM, as we call it. This is, in radio, that's what's known as FM.
Ray, I am glad to be back with you and glad to be in my typical seat where, I do enjoy, when you need to be away, I do enjoy, being in charge.
Yes. Audience knows. Cut it out at home. I can hear it.
No,
I've got feelings. I have feelings.
But I enjoy being the sidekick.
All right. And over there...
I have no designs on your job.
Fine, that's enough.
He doesn't want your job, he said.
Now, over in the other chair this morning is the younger man, a man that we've been tutoring for a couple of years, and now people...
I think it's 5.
People are becoming very familiar. Used to be known to only a few people as Scott Landgren, now known to millions as Scott Landgren, but still known to many more as Statman Carruthers.
That's me.
And in the movie The Shining, every Friday night is his shining moment, including tonight.
Ooh.
When the Lebanon Warriors take on the Bulldogs, and once again, I think we can beat the Bulldogs this year.
Bulldogs, yes.
That said, let's talk about some other things. First of all, let's see who was paying attention last week. A favorite part of the program at home, although we've never done this before. Everyone's been waiting for it. Last week, we talked a little bit about baseball. Scott, you weren't here.
I was not here last week.
Rob was here, but you can take Rob's place.
Okay.
Baseball has a stat that I heard really for the first time last week. It's WAR. One of the key stats that they say is being used to calculate the most valuable player in the American League this year. Although Miguel Cabrera is still just one home run behind Josh Hamilton and taking the lead for a Triple Crown, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. And they're not Yastrzemski's stats of 1967, which was a very low average, low home runs. It was a pitcher's year that year. This is a hitter's year, somewhat, again. So they used the stat WAR to rate Mike Trout, many people above Miguel Cabrera, although Cabrera is about, perhaps, to win a Triple Crown. What does... Now listen to this carefully at home. We're going to ask Mr. Hordeman over there, first of all. WAR, what does it stand for as a baseball statistic?
Okay. I don't remember what the acronym stands for.
I think I do.
But I know that the R is replacement.
Replacement.
Go for it. And I can tell you what it means.
So this shows what's always on your mind, isn't it? Replacement is the only word. I want to point that out at home.
No,
always thinking of. You wouldn't hurt me or anything, just to do that, would you? I mean, you wouldn't.
I might.
I'm 6'4", 40, but you're a little bigger.
I might.
All right.
Don't give me that look.
Replacement.
Wins above replacement.
And you weren't even here last week.
No.
Look at that.
Look at that.
That's why we bring the young blood in here.
That's it.
I
didn't remember the acronym.
But you hate that,
But I do remember what it means.
Don't you hate somebody like that? He's what?
Oh, yeah.
16 years old, and he knows all this stuff.
Going backwards.
Has the memory of somebody older and much wiser.
You're a little older. I'm 35 in a couple of weeks.
I hear it. I watch baseball almost every day, so I hear it a lot. So that's,
The 22-year-old, he knows. Wins above replacement. That is exactly what it stands for. Now, here's the next question today.
This is your turn.
Mr. Ordeman,
yes.
What does that stand for?
What it means is how teams do when that person is not in the lineup.
Sort of.
Am I wrong?
And now this is like, what's my line? Mr. Surf. You wouldn't remember that either. Bennett Cerf. Remember Bennett Cerf?
No.
No, you certainly wouldn't recall that. wins above replacement. What exactly does it mean?
Well, I
You know how
think
they-
he's right. It's
they
like
figure?
if the lineup is with, say, Mike Trout in there and they
Uh-huh.
win a game, and then he's not in there and they don't win a game, well, that's one game that above his replacement that he won. So
Somehow they figured that out.
I don't know
But
how.
That's true. The two of you do have that right. But I am reading here from the explanation of what WAR is.
Ooh.
And this did surprise me. You're both right. It has to do with a replacement stepping in, let's say for Mike Trout, and then somehow figuring out how many games that would cost, in this case, the Los Angeles Angels. Is it here? No, maybe it was another site that I already departed. What surprised me, it says, how do you figure who that replacement would be? It said in one of these explanations that they would take a AAA player, AAA baseball, and I don't know how they figured this, but they would figure what the average of a maybe a good AAA player would be, and then
Okay.
that's the statistic, and then they figure how this AAA player somehow would do in the major leagues.
Can you figure that out?
I don't know. That's the next question.
That is a confusing matrix right there to try and
That's
try
weird.
and calculate that.
I
And
thought
I think lends less credibility to the stat.
I think so too. Now I thought it was going to be some replacement from their team, like who would replace
Yeah,
Mike
yeah.
Trout on the Angels, but that would be inconsistent because the replacement for Mike Trout, for example, might be better if they're really loaded and the Angels spend a lot of money.
That's right. If the team has depth, sure.
Then you might have at Detroit for Miguel Cabrera. So that's not a reasonable way to do it, although I was thinking that's probably what they did. So what they do is they try to find a player that will be compared to both equally, and that is this somehow out of AAA, an average that they arrive at, and then they take this player from the particular position, in this case an outfielder for Trout, and Cabrera, whatever he is, dugout man.
And do they use that then consistently throughout the whole league?
Yes.
Okay.
I would assume
Okay.
so.
Well, that-
okay, yeah.
You know, if
So-
that's the case, then
Yeah.
it would provide some more consistency to what they're trying to get with.
So
that
you're
stat.
always compared to one stat, which
I got
somehow
it.
is
I got
garnered
it.
from this AAA
I don't
player.
know how you get that number, but
For Mike Trout, it's 10.5, and they say that's a phenomenal number. I don't know why. I would think a really good major league player compared to any AAA player, the one that's being considered for MVP, would be well above that AAA player. But they say 10.5 is a terrific number.
So they're saying 10.5 games better when he's in the lineup.
Yes. For Miguel Cabrera, it's 6.6, even though he's got going for the Triple Crown. How do you figure that? I don't know. But that's it.
I don't.
That's the way it is.
Value to your team, I
All right.
suppose.
I just found that rather interesting, and I know the audience at home loves that right now and is applauding for that statistic because they can use that and confuse their workers, their employees at work. Here's the question for the day before we get to some other stuff. Last week, the Ducks beating Arizona 49-0. Now, I was shocked near the end of the first half of that game to see the comparative yardage that the Ducks actually did have more than Arizona. It seemed like Arizona was killing them in the first half. The Ducks seemed to be 3 and out, but they went on a couple of drives, only had 13 points when the half was done. But Arizona, well, this week there's been a lot said about Nick Aliotti and the Duck defense and how much pride he took in the shutout last week, and the fact that the defense in the Ducks is often overshadowed by the successful offense. But Aliotti said he had great pride in the shutout last weekend, 49-0. Now, the question is this. 6 times last week, Arizona was in the red zone.
Right.
6 times they failed. When the opposition is in the red zone 6 times in a game, is that the sign? And you get the shutout. Is it a good defense or a worrisome, porous defense? Mr. Ordeman.
Well, I mean, a couple different ways to look at that.
Yes.
One, allowing them to get down into the red zone certainly is alarming. That many times, and a good solid team will find a way to get some points.
All right,
on
so
the
it's
board.
a worrisome, porous defense.
Porous, no. I think the defensive play calling and the pressure that they were getting on the quarterback once they did reach the red zone was the product of good calls by Aliotti, because that's what was happening. He was running for his life once they got down into the red zone. So, there's certainly there were some opportunities missed by Arizona, but I do think that this one sign of a good defense is how you buckle down when a team reaches the red zone. And let's not forget, I mean, the field shrinks when somebody is down that close to the goal line, and your options are fewer and fewer because you don't have as much space to work in. So that's, certainly a factor here. But 6 trips into the red zone, I thought Arizona played a very, very good first half, and I thought that they did move the ball well, and I thought that maybe some defensive things were exposed for the Ducks. But as that game progressed and you get into the second half, I thought Arizona fell apart. I really did. And a lot of that has to do with Aliotti's defense.
A couple of things. One is, as you know, I'm always concerned about the kids in the audience. I'm always thinking of the benefit of the kids. Kids listening to Mr. Ordeman's explanation that the field shrinks. Those of you...
It's a theoretical shrinking.
So somehow when you get near the goal line, it's not 100 yards any longer. That's not what he meant. You didn't mean that, did you? You don't really think that now it's 80 yards because... No. Okay, fine. For the kids. For the sake of the kids. Love kids. Now... Scott,
who's a kid,
49-0 is a little bit misleading. As you said, there has to be concern when the other team is in there 6 times and they missed a field goal, they flubbed things. That's the only reason they missed the points.
Yeah, they missed a field goal. They had one blocked.
Yep.
They threw 2 picks.
And they didn't go for a field goal when the first trip into the red zone.
Maybe
they went for it on 4th, and I couldn't believe they weren't putting the points on the board.
So they didn't actually get a shutout last week. No offense to the Ducks, but there should have been some points on the board.
There should have been. Arizona definitely shot themselves in the foot, but the Ducks did. There was no points on the board, so I mean, there was sort of a, they never broke. The defense never broke when they got that close. So,
but we've talked for the last couple of years, Ray, about how you forget how good that defense is down in Eugene. They have been good for years, and with the speed at which the Duck offense plays, the defense is on the field a lot. I mean, you look at time of possession, the Ducks might be up by 4 touchdowns, but they have 25% of the time of possession there. It means your defense is on the field quite a bit. They're conditioned well. I'm impressed with their defense.
However, despite the fact that everyone keeps talking about the shutout, after a week's time in particular, the episodes of the game are forgotten. The 6 times into the red zone, the fact that they shot themselves in the foot to miss some points, and had they made those early points, it might have been a different game. They might have really gotten the Ducks worried because the Ducks were not moving the ball. And Arizona was continually getting close to the goal line, and had they gotten some points out of that, that could have added to the pressure of Mariota. Let's ask this question.
Oh, boy.
The pronunciation, please. We learned this a couple of weeks ago in a talk with somebody from the Sports Information Department at Oregon. The correct information of the quarterback, although a few weeks ago it had been said it should have been the last syllable, Mariota. We learned better.
We did.
What did we learn?
Mariota.
No.
Yes.
Oh, what a shame.
Yes.
What a shame,
he says. Oh, boy.
People that just forget. Mariota.
Okay.
Not Mariota. Not ta. Listen. Hear it. Ta. Mariota.
Okay.
Yeah, close. But you keep, still there's a ooh in there. It's not.
What was that face again?
Ooh.
Where's the video when we need it today? That was a good face.
The gentleman from
now feel dumber for having just watched you do that.
Oh.
See how often you're replacing me now.
Your mic's going to get muted over there in a minute.
No.
If I have anything to say about it.
He's got the board.
The sports information man from Oregon said that they initially thought it was Mariota, and that's why they released that on the day that he was made the starting quarterback. The first game that was carried on whatever it was, ESPN, they were very careful to pronounce it Mariota. However, he said they went to Marcus himself and asked him how he would like the name pronounced. And maybe it was just conceding to the homeland, not the homeland, what am I trying to say? Hawaii, what is this?
Mainland.
Mainland, thank you. Thank you very much.
My back in your will.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ordeman. Maybe it was just bowing to the mainland pronunciation, but Marcus said it was Mariota. Not Mariota, but you still have to get the ta in there, but Mariota. But many, including the Duck announcer, is still saying Mariota. But those of you that listen to 1580 KGAL, locally owned and operated, proud to be local and proud to preach the proper gospel of everything, know that he's making a serious mistake. It's Mariota.
All right, then.
All right?
There we go.
Scott, how do you pronounce it?
Mariota.
Good for you.
There we go.
You weren't here that week.
I don't know.
So
Yeah, I was.
Oh, were you here?
I was here.
Oh, were you? I should have asked you that.
That's all right.
What would you have said? You did say.
I did
you?
say.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Both wrong.
He just wants to make us wrong.
On the serious side, I do have a question I want to ask you, Wally, because you weren't there, and I will ask Scott again. We had an incident last week in the game between Crescent Valley and Lebanon. They came down to the end. Mm-hmm. Lebanon within 3 points. It's a minute and 10 seconds left in the game. Crescent Valley has the ball on the 40-yard line. They take over because Lebanon had failed on downs.
Okay.
And Crescent Valley takes over, and with a minute 10 left, they have their quarterback, Tanner Sanders, take a knee.
Okay.
I said after the game, I think that's wrong, and that Lebanon should have charged through that line and tried to get the ball. Those around me, including Scott and Rob Allen, and I respect that. And also a young man who was doing the Crescent Valley broadcast over on one of those other things in town.
Yes.
Said that no, this is part of the game, that you respect that. The quarterback takes the knee, and that's it. I say with a minute and 10 seconds left, their own 40. Lebanon's not back on the 5-yard line or something like that. They're not down by more than a touchdown. They're within 3. They even have a field goal kicker whom you and I, Scott, saw in a warm-up at Ashland kick a 47-yard field goal.
Yeah.
So just, if they can get the ball back, they can move a few yards, they could still tie that game. The game is very much alive. The quarterback takes the knee. I say, let him have it. And I don't mean it that way. I mean the game is still on. You're not trying to injure someone. You're trying to get the ball. That's realistic, and they had better watch out. I would like to know what you think on that.
No, I
think it over. Think it over for a time. We'll take a break.
All right, fair enough.
We'll take this break, and we'll be back. 1580 KGAL from the sidelines.
Get fit. Feel better. Look better. Get in shape and have fun doing it. Get started now and join the Albany Athletic Club. Since 1979, the Albany Athletic Club has offered a clean, friendly, safe environment where fitness is fun. Play racquetball, lift weights, participate in cycling or yoga, or just relax in the sauna or whirlpool. Group fitness classes from low-impact dance to traditional circuit training. Your children will love the childcare. Don't wait. Join today. The Albany Athletic Club over the bridge in North Albany next to Tom's Garden Center.
When you look out across Willamette Valley, you'll see plenty of banking choices. But we're here to give you an option that's pretty unique, like no other in fact. Hi, I'm Dave Wood, President and CEO of Willamette Community Bank. We provide an alternative to large national and regional banks by offering customized financial services and local decision-making to benefit local people, local families, and local businesses. How many banks can say that? Willamette Community Bank, service like no other, we promise. Member FDIC.
Did your cooling bills go through the roof this summer? Then it's time to take action before your heating bills do the same. Economy Supply Building Center can help you stop wasting energy today and start saving money. Simply call 541-258-7107 and ask about Atticat, the expanding blown-in pink fiberglass insulation from Owens Corning. You could save up to 20% on your home's energy costs and increase the comfort of your home year-round. Get Atticat insulation at Economy Supply Building Center, where Highway 34 becomes Tangent Street in Lebanon.
Lapdogs, yes men. Congress is full of people who blindly follow the party line and cave easily to special interests. You'd never confuse Peter DeFazio for one of those guys. Peter DeFazio has never been afraid to go against the flow or make some waves when he believes in something. That's why Peter stood up to leaders in both parties, leading the fight against the $700 billion Wall Street bailout. But this is nothing new. Peter has been fighting to crack down on Wall Street's reckless behavior for years. Peter supported the Wall Street Reform Act, but he's pushed for even stronger protections to safeguard the American people from ever bailing out Wall Street again. And to lower gas prices, Peter has fought big oil and gas speculators who care more about profits than people. Whether it's standing up to powerful Wall Street banks or greedy big oil executives, Peter DeFazio will take on anyone who threatens Oregon families.
I'm Peter DeFazio, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by DeFazio for Congress.
Are you frustrated? Are you having a hard time understanding the court papers and procedures? Do you need your court papers served to someone? Call us for the love of service at 541-570-1494. We can help. No legal terms, only simple answers. Call now for court help and process serving. To set up an appointment for 30 minutes, only $10. We are located in the Lebanon DMV building. Call us at 541-570-1494. Let us help you get back your peace of mind.
Valley Talk, weekday mornings on News Talk 1580 KGAL.
Yeah, rock and roll in here.
Welcome back.
a nice
Friday
change.
mornings, KGAL Radio from the sidelines. I'm Radio Ray, that's Wally Ornament, that's Scott Landgren. And before we departed, we had a fascinating question that has been posed that people are now discussing at home, probably with the same anxious contention that we had last Friday night on the game. As Scott said, we were there until the lights went out, still talking about
We
this.
were.
Lebanon trailed Crescent Valley by 3 points with the game winding down last week. Lebanon had just turned the ball over on downs in what appeared to be maybe a drive in which they could get a touchdown to win or a field goal to tie, reminding you that we had seen Brandon Marquez kick a 47-yard field goal in practice at Ashland. So we know he can do it if the situation is just right. Crescent Valley takes over at their own 40-yard line. Now, if the Warriors can get the ball back, there's 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining, they still have a chance. Probably not for a touchdown, but with one first down, they may get within a reasonable distance for Brandon to try a field goal, tie the game, and send it to overtime. There is 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining. Crescent Valley, on their first down, has their quarterback, Tanner Sanders, take a knee. The usual, game over kind of thing. Often seen when somebody has more than a touchdown lead and a tie, any hopes of a tie are gone. Often seen if, you yourself could add more points if you wish to injure the opposition even further, and you just take the knee, and that's respected. In this case, with the ball on their 40, Tanner Sanders, when he took the knee, and all he did, by the way, and this will be part of the discussion in a moment, all he did was just have the ball in his hand, bang, goes to a knee.
Which is the safe way to do that, by the way, instead of running around in the backfield and trying to burn even more time.
You mean the safe way as far as the handling of the ball to prevent a fumble or turnover? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and risk of injury, whatever the case may be.
Oh, now I have to disagree with that, because in this case, with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go, I think that the lineman on Lebanon still had every right to have the intent to break through that line, force a fumble, and get the ball back, because the potential for a tie or a victory is still there. The distance is reasonable with only 40 yards from the goal. It's still reasonable for the linemen of Lebanon not to just do nothing, as they did. Nobody did anything. You just kind of stand up, play done. The quarterback takes the stamp, takes the knee, play done. I think that they still had every right at that point, if the defensive linemen for Crescent Valley were not going to protect themselves, to say this game on and break through. And when I say hit the quarterback, everybody's going to say, oh, he took a knee. Well, he doesn't have a right to do that. They have to be defending themselves at this point, understanding that the potential for victory on either side is still there. You disagree?
I do disagree. I think with Lebanon going forward on fourth down, which they had to do at that time, didn't get it done. I think that's where that concession happens. And
why?
Why? Because obviously there were no timeouts left for Lebanon, and Crescent Valley knew that they could just run out the clock.
That's true.
I think that's when the white flag does come out, and I think that if you send players through when a team is in victory formation, I think if you send players through, I think you risk the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. I think that that then moves the ball. What would you prefer if they just ran a quarterback sneak, another very safe play where he takes the ball from center and just piles into the line?
Fine.
Is that
fine?
Which obviously gives Lebanon a chance to strip the ball.
That's right.
I think that this is the generally accepted way to handle it. I think it's probably the most sportsmanlike way to handle it. And I think there's less risk of anything extracurricular happening at a time where Crescent Valley had sealed a win.
I take exception to the statement or the phrase victory formation. All right, 6 minutes left in the game. Let's take the victory formation.
Well, you can't do that.
Then you turn the ball back again.
We're talking about clock management here, and Crescent Valley had the advantage in that situation.
They had the advantage.
No timeouts left for Lebanon, and the ability to kill the clock at that point and go out with a win.
I disagree wholeheartedly with that. They can't just kill the clock now. There's a minute and 10 seconds left.
You don't think killing the clock in that manner is just as much a part of the strategy as...
No, it's not reasonable. Victory formation with a minute and 10 seconds left?
Sure.
I would ask you, this is a very difficult question, but at what point then? What is the time at which the victory formation can no longer be employed?
The time is very calculated. It's the time that it takes for the referee to reset the ball, for the back judge to start the clock on how long he has to get the play off.
Minute and 30 seconds?
I don't know. Is that how you do the math?
Well, that's what I'm asking. I'm saying a minute and 10 seconds is not reasonable. There is still time to run a couple of plays, have the ball stripped, have Lebanon get the ball back, have them play maybe one down, get close enough for Brandon Marquez to try a field goal. How do you do that? You don't take the victory formation on defense, which is basically to stand up and say, "La-di frickin' da, the game is over. You beat us."
But the time that it takes for Tanner Sanders to take that snap from center and go to a knee is minuscule compared to the time it takes to bust through the line. If they go through and hit him and he's on a knee,
but that's too bad.
They're 15 yards going the other direction.
That's too bad. They have to do that because there is still enough time left. The point differential is close enough at 3 points to make a big difference. Lebanon is still playing. And if I'm the Lebanon coach, I don't care if you're not playing. We're coming through. Get ready. That is, get your defensive lineman to block, get the quarterback. And Scott, in the discussion last Friday, I thought you had the answer that would appease me. And that was...
Well, it's all in how you take the knee. If you take the snap and, you immediately go down, that's...
Which he did.
Yeah, which is the normal, public...
Generally accepted.
Yeah.
Then nobody blocks.
Yeah, nobody blocks. You take the knee. Now, if a quarterback takes the snap, goes back like 3 to 5 yards, like some of them do to waste clock.
Forcing the defensive lineman to block and giving the offensive lineman a chance to get through the line.
Then I think it's okay.
Yeah,
send the
absolutely.
defense.
Absolutely.
Then you take a knee and you have to concede because the player is basically thrown.
Right, but if he gives the appearance at all that he's trying to make a football play, or stays up and is just in limbo back there, absolutely you go through. Absolutely you go through.
But more than that, that's what has to be done. You go through if he doesn't. If he just takes the knee quickly, as we are trying to explain here, all he did was snap, boom, down to the knee. No play. Nobody's blocking because everybody's being sportsmanlike. I'm saying that the Lebanon squad, with a minute and 10 seconds, does not have to do that. And the Crescent Valley, or anybody, we're talking here as a sports moment, any team needs to defend at that point. Their defensive linemen have to get up and block to try to keep the offensive lineman from Lebanon off the ball. The quarterback has to at least make some kind of a movement because then there's the potential for a fumble. And if you don't want to do that, we can't do that. We're going into the sports formation. Tough freaking football noogies.
I've never heard that one before.
I haven't either. I might use that sometime.
The game is still on. And I go overboard on this program. I don't mean it that way. But what I'm saying, I truly would urge is common sense in football. I did not understand it last Friday that they did not employ some type of attempt to strip the ball away because there's a minute and 10 seconds left.
And I guarantee if you do that, you have a hanky on the field, you move the ball 15 yards, and you replay first down.
Yeah, and we replace the officials because we've got, hey, Stripe Man, we've got a right here. This game, who are you rooting for? Where are you from? Would you graduate from CV?
No.
This game is still going. You can't flag us for coming through the line for crying out. What is it? There's a flag on coming through the line?
Would you anticipate, if the roles were reversed, would you anticipate in that same scenario Lebanon?
Yes.
You
can't do that. You better be careful. You better do what Scott said. You at least have to move the ball, giving the other team the potential that it wants to strip the ball, which they have a right to expect. But if you think that you can just take a knee and they're not going to do anything, that's wrong.
I think in the scenario that you described to me, Crescent Valley handled that in absolutely the best way.
Okay.
And maybe then your point is that Lebanon didn't.
Yes, that is my point. I think Lebanon had
Lebanon should have sent people through, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. That's right.
And I think you would find yourself marching 15 yards at a time down.
And that would be too bad, because the officials would have to counsel. They would have to say, the game was still very much alive. All they did was come through. I mean, nobody had a dirty hit. Just because Crescent Valley sat down doesn't mean the other team has to sit down.
He's only 3 feet from the defensive line when he takes that snap and drops down to a knee. You think if they come through, they aren't going to hit the quarterback?
Remember, the same thing was discussed in pro football the week prior, the Sunday prior to last Friday's game between the New York Giants and Tampa Bay, when Tampa Bay came through trying to get the ball against the Giants when time was running out, and the Giants got a little upset.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I didn't hear what was done in that case, but I'm pretty sure there was no flag thrown for Tampa Bay. Just the Giants were upset at the end that there could be some injury. And Tampa Bay's offensive coordinator said, game on. Game's still going. It's close enough. You can't just expect us to sit down because you're sitting down and say, game over. Sorry, it's not. Look at the clock. Look at the score. Game is not over. And I would ask you tonight, ask that fine young man that you broadcast the game with.
I will.
Ask him what he thinks. I
will.
I asked him, and he said, I agree with you. You can't just expect that the game is over. And I agree with Scott that if there is some type of play where they're still blocking on both sides and possibility of game still continuing, for the offense that means, for the defense that means possibility of a fumble. The offense it means taking the risk. You must take that risk, then have the quarterback back up, take a knee behind the line. At that point, you must concede. You always concede that play is over. But that requires the quarterback to take the snap. It requires him going back. Anything can happen. And the defense, still has the reasonable expectation that something could happen to give them the ball back. Discuss it at home. Wally?
And we'll discuss it in the car on the way to Silverton.
I don't know. It's thing. I mean, you're 6'4", and you're the 6'4", 240 one here. Mm-hmm. I'm the little guy in the place, and I'm saying, kill him!
Wow.
And you...
Somebody has to be the voice of reason in this group.
You're playing some unreasonable football Gandhi. Sit down. Let's just... Peace. Hey, peace, man. All right, we better take a break. We're getting backed up here. We'll take a break. We'll return. The Reverend Mr. Orange and Black is here this morning.
The Osgood File. This is Charles Osgood. We had terrific tomatoes in our garden this summer. Lots of them. Big, red, juicy tomatoes bursting with flavor. Of course, I'm not in the tomato business. Larry Wagner's garden is in Northern California. He's proud of his tomatoes, too.
I've got a lot of tomatoes just ready to be picked. Just ready to be picked right now.
He's not in the tomato business either.
I have the family garden plot that my grandmother originally planted vegetable gardens in every year. And when I was a kid, I would go out and pick and weed and water.
Why is it that homegrown tomatoes can taste great and the store-bought ones can taste like cardboard?
There's always been this huge difference between any homegrown garden tomato and a store-bought tomato. I buy store-bought tomatoes in the winter, and I don't really, like them.
Tomatoes are a $2 billion business in this country, though. The taste of money after this.
Your first word probably wasn't something like finance, or savings, or ATM. But whatever that first word was, it opened up a world to you that was built on conversations. It's this exchange of ideas that Wells Fargo puts into practice every day through listening, guiding, and planning. So when the conversation is about ways to grow your savings or your business, we'll be here to help you find the right answers. Because an open dialogue is what opens doors. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A.
Call the Glass Doctor, we'll fix your pain. We can handle all of your insurance claims. We're the quickest cure whenever your glass breaks. Call us 7 days a week and we'll be there. Your home, car, or business, or anywhere. Windows, mirrors, tabletops, we'll take good care of you. Call the Glass Doctor, we'll fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
For the nearest Glass Doctor location, call 877-620-8338.
You like tomatoes, I like tomato. It's not exactly news that homegrown tomatoes taste better than commercial ones, says our CBS News colleague John Blackstone.
Commercial tomatoes have been scientifically bred to be inexpensive, easy to ship, and available all year round. Nothing wrong with that, says tomato researcher Ann Powell.
Tomato harvesting is actually a pretty economical crop. Part of the reason is that the farmer wants to get maximum yield out of his field, and so we actually have a lot to thank the industry for developing these. And nobody at that point expected it would have anything to do with the flavor of the fruit when they're ripened.
Also, commercial tomatoes have to be shipped, so the skins are tougher. They're sold by weight, so they tend to be heavier. And as Chef Justin Wangler told us,
there's something about going to your backyard, picking that tomato while it's still warm, bringing it in, slicing it up, putting it on a BLT.
You can't buy that at any price. The Osgood File. I'll see you on the television come Sunday morning on CBS. This is Charles Osgood on the CBS Radio Network.
Coming October 13th, it's the second annual Samaritan Health Services Living Well Expo at Heritage Mall in Albany, presented by Bi-Mart and a Turning Leaf Home Medical. There are over 80 booths promoting healthy, fun, and fulfilling lifestyles. Bring the family. It's free. Enjoy the exhibit, special sales, and Bi-Mart micro-reality racing track, and continuous entertainment on the Monarch Medical Weight Loss main stage. See performances by local magicians, the Lebanon High School Dance Team, the Square Dance Alliance, Albany Civic Theater, Cascade Performing Arts, and more. Explore new hobbies and visit health screenings ranging from blood pressure tests to breast and cervical cancer detection. Learn about nutrition, including the Oregon Healthy Kids program. Ever wondered how much that rare book, those old Victorian pieces or other old items might be worth? Local advanced collectors will be on hand to give you an evaluation of your items starting at noon. Don't miss the second annual Samaritan Health Services Living Well Expo presented by Bi-Mart and a Turning Leaf Home Medical, coming up October 13th at Heritage Mall in Albany.
Hear the truth and only the truth from your cultural crusader, Michael Medved, on News Talk 1580 KGAL.
Welcome back from the sidelines here on Friday morning. We have a good sports weekend ahead tonight. A couple of football games, and the game that truly is the top 5A game in the state. Everyone will be watching this outcome.
Yeah.
Silverton and West Albany, both teams 3-0, both teams playing well. Silverton, an impressive bashing of Corvallis last week, a shutout. I don't think Corvallis got into the red zone 6 times.
I don't think so.
Silverton can really take credit for that. It's a team you would not. Corvallis is not as good as they've been in the last few years. Graduation.
Right.
Isaac Sayamalo is now playing with the Beavers and starting. But Corvallis is generally capable on the field, not a team you normally would expect to be manhandled as Silverton did last week. And West Albany has been tough. That Jake Lacoste person is running wild. This should be a good matchup tonight.
And it's a reunion of two teams that Jake ran for 508 yards against last year. And I had somebody say to me just the other day, hey, they couldn't tackle him last year, and he's a year older and a year stronger. What makes them think they can tackle him this year? And they defensively, Silverton has been playing very, very well. They've got a couple of shutouts. They've only allowed 6 points in the last 3 weeks. They're really getting the job done. They have impressive wins over Springfield, who's playing very good football this year, and Bend. Bend was one of their shutouts. So Silverton, it's going to be an epic battle. Everybody thought that West Albany Crescent Valley was going to be the one for the title this year. It's not. This is the epic one right here, and this is gonna decide who is the conference champion. I believe, and up at Silverton.
7 o'clock tonight, 920 K show. Ryan Pitts and Wally Ordeman. Wally, who will ask Ryan, what do you think? Minute 10 left in the game. Ball on the 40.
We will have covered that on the drive, and won't be discussing that on the air tonight.
Game on or game over?
I bet we will.
I'll bet you will too.
We play the Bulldogs tonight. Scott and I will go up to Woodburn. Woodburn won the first couple of games, the first 2 games they played this season for something like the first time in 20 years.
Wow.
But they play Cleveland, not the Browns, which might be a good idea.
Yeah.
But they're playing lesser teams.
Yeah, and Jefferson up in Portland, who has not been great in the past couple of years, yeah.
And when they got in the league, they've been slammed, including West Albany scoring 56 points in the first half last Friday night, right? 56-0 at half.
Yes, I believe that's right.
Yeah.
And Corvallis scored 56 on them in the first game of the conference season, too, so not looking too good for the Bulldogs.
So we expect a win tonight as we
do
the Lebanon game this evening. Better take a break right here, and Reverend Mr. Orange and Black will stop by as we continue today from the sidelines.
Albany's Mennonite Home is pleased to have earned a perfect score from the State of Oregon surveyors this month, making Mennonite Home one of the top skilled nursing and rehabilitation facilities in Oregon, providing the highest possible quality of care. As part of the Mennonite Village Retirement Community, Mennonite Home provides the rehabilitation and therapy services for people of all faiths transitioning from a hospital stay to home. They work directly with each resident's health care, pharmacy, and insurance providers, making life easier for residents and their families. A wide range of resident programs are offered to meet individual interests, including outdoor gardening, scenic walks, cooking and baking, art and music, pet therapy, and brain fitness activities. Mennonite Home is where you'll find superior standards and amazing levels of devotion. The proof is in their reputation and resident satisfaction. Rooms are currently available. Call Geraldine at 541-928-7232 or visit MennoniteHome.com.
Hi, I'm Eric with Pacific Coast Septic. We're a new septic business in Linn Benton counties. We have 20 years experience in the business. We do residential and commercial pumping, locating, pump repair, free estimates. We are open 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, and open for emergencies on Saturdays. Give us a call at 541-258-2838. DEQ license number 38855.
Visit PacificCoastSeptic.com. Quality service serving you.
Hi, this is Shelley Garrett. The Lebanon Chamber of Commerce is excited to bring you the first annual Antique Appraisal Clinic, Saturday, September 29th at Central Willamette Community Credit Union, 625 5th Street. Everyone has something they've always wondered what the value was. An old picture or a book, jewelry, or furniture. We've invited Gary Germer, one of Portland's leading antique, fine art, and personal property appraisers, to come to Lebanon and appraise your collectibles. Thanks to sponsor Central Willamette Insurance Agency and KSHO AM 920, we'll have refreshments, and not only will the audience be entertained by Gary's appraisals, but the show will also be broadcast live on KSHO. Look around the house and bring the items you'd like appraised. The cost is only $5 for 2 items.
This is Gary Germer. Please join me as we appraise Lebanon's treasures Saturday, September 29th.
The Antique Appraisal Clinic, September 29th from 9 a.m. to noon at Central Willamette Community Credit Union, 625 North 5th, across from Pioneer School in Lebanon.
As the summer winds down and fall arrives, it doesn't mean your fishing adventures end. In some fisheries, the best fishing is just beginning. Make sure your motors are in top condition by taking them to Southside Marine for service that will keep your motor trolling wherever you go. Your Honda Marine and Yamaha dealer has service specials tailored for you. And now is the time to check out their used boat inventory. Ask about their outside storage specials. Southside Marine on Southwest 3rd in Corvallis. Call 541-753-4241.
Your voice of reason in the West is Hugh Hewitt. Weekday afternoons at 3 on Smart Talk 1580.
From the sidelines, back here for a Friday morning. I'm Brady Wright. It's Wally Ornament. That's Scott Landgren here, talking sports stuff. Beavers, last week, despite the good Reverend Mr. Orange and Black's advice, don't play. They did, and they did it again.
They did it again.
Wow.
Yep, good for them.
This is why, but tomorrow they play Arizona. One of the reasons I asked that question about the Ducks and their shutout, is that really a shutout in Arizona with no offense, or is it a porous defense, but a good one, but dangerously porous? Arizona had the ball in the red zone 6 times last week. You wonder, that offense was great for a couple of weeks, got shut down. They're angry. They can score. They did get in the red zone 6 times. A danger tomorrow, Arizona or the Beavers?
I'm taking the Beavers. Yeah. I'm doing a 180. I really am. I think the Beaver defense has been so solid. A couple long pass plays, get the Beavs into the end zone last week. I'm impressed with the progress. I'm impressed with the defense. I think the Beavers win it.
All right. Scott?
I agree. It's going to be a defensive battle, I think. It always is when down in Tucson. But I think the Beavers have enough offense this year. They have Wheaton and Cooks. They've been able to run the ball. They're going to have to get a 100-yard rusher tomorrow, I think. But I think Arizona's going to score, but I think the Beavers are going to win by maybe like a touchdown.
Rushing. That was the best part of the UCLA game, was the last quarter where the Beavers started to rush the ball, and Stormwoods had some success. It's like maybe they actually started putting it together at that point. If that part of the Beaver game from last week, Beaver-UCLA game, repeats tomorrow, yes, the Beavers will win.
Yeah.
If they still have that problem running the ball,
then I don't think so. The Reverend Mr. Orange and Black believes that they will win tomorrow and has some words here from the Church of the Beaver Believer. Eat our beaver dust, UCLA. Before we officially begin, some advice given for free. Please heed these words from O&B. Our miracle continues. The Beavers beat the Bruins with another game of stellar play. So thankfully give until it hurts when the collection plate is passed your way. Amen. Let's begin. This is the COBB, Church of the Beaver Believer. I am the Reverend Mr. Orange and Black. Our gospel for today is from the sports pages of last Sunday morning, where we read, Beavers 27, Bruins 20. It was truly a Jack Buck moment.
I don't believe what I just saw.
It was not easy to believe, but what is most amazing is that we have now seen it twice. First, we beat the Be-Adgers. Then we beat the Be-Ruins. It has been one beautiful season so far. Last week, before the Beaver-UCLA game, we bade goodbye to former Bruin head coach Ricky Neuheisel. But we never did welcome the new Bruin biggie, Jim Mora, even though I had already written a new song for the Beaver hymnal just for him. With the help of the Andrea True Connection, here is that song just for the Jimmer. Mora, Mora, Mora. Mora, Mora, Mora.
How do you like?
Him.
How do you like?
Him. Mora, Mora, Mora.
How do you like?
Him.
How do you like?
Him. H-I-M. Not in the least. Thank you for asking. Thank you. A wonderful song, also appropriate last week. But now, in light of what happened last Saturday, perhaps I was a little bit judgmentally harsh. So I wrote this amended version. Mora, Mora, Mora.
How do you like?
Him.
How do you like?
Him. Mora, Mora, Mora.
How do you like?
Him.
How do you like?
Him. H-I-M. Not so bad. That's probably better this time, and let's hope we get to play that version in future years as well. And if we do, I guarantee you it won't be that many years, if you know what I mean. And if you don't, ask Rick Neuheisel. Now, we're on to Arizona. They, too, have a new head coach this season. But first, we must bid farewell to the now departed Dean of the Desert, Mike Stoops. Mike, for you, a poem. Mike Stoops, you said you'd turn things around in Arizona. Well, Mike Stoops, oops, that's all. Thank you. Thank you. But now there's a new guy, the new #1 Wildcat, Rich Rodriguez, known as Rich Rod, fired at Michigan, now at Arizona. For you, Rich, a sort of song. Rich Rod, you had to switch, Rod, when the Spartans fired you. But Rich Rod, it'll be a Rod when Arizona does the same thing, too. A beautiful ballad to welcome our new pigskin pal, Rich Rodriguez. Week 5 of the football season, and the Beavers are still undefeated. But now Arizona stands in our way. You know, dear Arizona lost last week, so now they're sore. So I hope, sweet Arizona, you won't mind losing one more. And when will that be, dearest Arizona? Tomorrow, for sure. Well, I don't know if that's for sure, but we're getting excited. Tomorrow, we said last week, UCLA might really tell the truth about the Beavers. I'm going to delay that 1 week. Tomorrow is the true story. They win tomorrow, then it should be a great Civil War game. That's, I think, an interesting thing is that right now, I have a little bit of interest in the Civil War again. And John Canzano in the Oregonian this morning wrote an article, said the same thing. He's already looking forward to the Civil War.
Sure.
And if they win, if the Beavers win tomorrow, then it might be a very, very interesting year. So cross our Beaver Believer fingers. Hope for the best. We'll take one more break this morning and return from the sidelines.
When you need the job done, you want the powerhouse of engineering, reliability, and value that is Kubota. And right now, during Kubota's 40-year strong celebration, you can get 0% APR financing on select new L-Series tractors with reproductive transmissions, including the innovative HST Plus. Go to Kubota.com or see Lynn Benton Tractor in Silverton or Tangent. Kubota is 40 years strong serving the American dream, and Lynn Benton Tractor is still doing business the American way.
We're kicking off the season with the best deals of the year. It's the Built Ford Tough Truck event. Time to get the most for your money with Ford F-Series. Great power and amazing fuel economy means no compromises. And that's what you get in a truck built Ford Tough. Like Ford F-150. With a powerful and efficient EcoBoost engine, you get the power you want and the economy you need. Or Ford Super Duty with its amazing 6.7-liter Power Stroke turbo diesel. Super Duty's got everything you need to get the job done, and then some. So if you're looking for power, payload, towing, and economy, your local Ford store has got the truck that's right for you. And with Built Ford Tough Truck event deals, there's never been a better time to buy. We're talking big-time savings on a huge selection of America's best-selling trucks. If you're ready for a great deal on a new Ford F-150 or looking to get to work in a new Ford Super Duty, this is your chance to save. So don't miss the Built Ford Tough Truck event going on now at your local Ford store.
Refreshments, fire safety demonstrations, great deals, prizes, and K-Show radio. If that sounds like a celebration, it is. Servco is 30 years young, and you're invited to a birthday party and open house Saturday between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. For an added spark, K-Show's M&M kid Mike Mason will be there between 11:30 and 1:30. Servco turns 30 Saturday, and you're invited to their celebration. Across from River Park on Grant Street in Lebanon, Servco, service that comes to you.
Lapdogs, yes men. Congress is full of people who blindly follow the party line and cave easily to special interests. You'd never confuse Peter DeFazio for one of those guys. Peter DeFazio has never been afraid to go against the flow or make some waves when he believes in something. That's why Peter stood up to leaders in both parties, leading the fight against the $700 billion Wall Street bailout. But this is nothing new. Peter has been fighting to crack down on Wall Street's reckless behavior for years. Peter supported the Wall Street Reform Act, but he's pushed for even stronger protections to safeguard the American people from ever bailing out Wall Street again. And to lower gas prices, Peter has fought big oil and gas speculators who care more about profits than people. Whether it's standing up to powerful Wall Street banks or greedy big oil executives, Peter DeFazio will take on anyone who threatens Oregon families.
I'm Peter DeFazio, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by DeFazio for Congress.
The news you need, smart talk, and just enough sports. That's what you'll get from News Talk 1580, KGAL.
All right, one more time with the whistle, because we don't have the replacement band this morning. We have the full band here. How about that ending on Monday night? I wanted to get someone from the Seahawks on today to discuss one thing I heard twice. I heard it on the ESPN radio the day after. I heard it on the game that night. Something about when they went to the replay, the announcer said they can't overturn that call on the field. Now, if you saw the replay, if you were looking at it, certainly you could overturn it. So what would that phrase mean, you can't overturn the call on the field?
Well, first of all, everything's reviewable. I believe the last 2 minutes of each half, I think, is automatically reviewed. Just probably in that situation, just to see if there was anything that was reviewable. But evidently the dual possession thing or you know, any other of the other ingredients in that particular play are not reviewable plays.
But as Scott said, how would they know there was dual possession? I don't think anybody upstairs would know what they called on the field.
Right, because scoring plays are reviewable. So nobody really knows what they called on the field. So I think that's the confusion was. I don't know.
And those weren't replacement reviewers. Those were the NFL people that are always in the booth. So certainly they would have seen what we saw at home, which immediately said there should be another call. Overturn the call, but they couldn't do that. Why? I wanted to ask the Seahawk people. I didn't get a call back. Maybe next week. Nobody will care any longer, but maybe next week.
Maybe.
West and Sutherland tonight, 7 o'clock on K-Show.
Or Silverton.
Silverton. Yeah. Silverton. And Lebanon and Woodburn tonight, 7 o'clock on KGAL. And we'll see you when?
Next Friday.
Next week. That's right. Good for you. Have a fine sports week. Go Bills.